Hey everybody, welcome back to Hills and Gales. If you're new to the channel, thank you for stopping by. And if you've not seen the video on the last jig that we tied up, this is what I call the White Ghost. It's got a red collar on it. This is an excellent jig right here for like cold water crappie. If you fish where white bass runs up the rivers and stuff like we do around here during the spring, this is a killer as well. So that's done in description. Jig pouring is down in the description. How to remove the collar, all that good stuff's down there. So I hope you check that out after this video. But today we're going to be pouring the blue ice. It's a little blue metal flake jig that started out, of course, as a wheel weight on someone's vehicle. We added eyes and everything to it. And if you're thinking about, buying you some unfinished jig heads, maybe at Walmart or whatever, and want to paint them up, 90% of our jigs, we don't powder dip in the smaller versions like this, but we use LA Color fingernail polish. It's 99 cents a bottle like at Family Dollar store, and it is the best on the market in my opinion. Been doing this a long time, went through a lot of fingernail polish, and this is the one that we finally settled on. I got like 60 bottles of this. And if you get it with the sticker up on the cap, like I said in the last video, it's got the hardeners in it. And it's a much harder fingernail polish. So I started out with a white base coat. Then I went to my primary, which was a blue. Also has the hardener in it, sticker up here. And then a clear coat of blue metal flake. And for like clear water, bright sunny days, this is an excellent little pattern right here. We're going to be using, again, some of our synthetic hair that we picked up at Hobby Lobby. Same that we made this little fellow out of. And this is great compared to bucktail. Bucktail, it's been around forever. It is a great hair to use on jigs. But with this, it looks great in the water. And it also is a easier or less maintenance. And what I mean by that, it's pretty much the length that you need for your smaller jigs. You don't have a lot of waste with this, and it's easy to work with. And it's like $4 a sheet. I've got about 5 sheets of this laying over in a variety of different colors I like using. We're going to be adding some blue metal flake. This is some crystal flash right here, and it looks a little bit of aqua and the purplish look to it. Depends on how the sun is hitting it. We're going to put a couple of little strands down each side there. And then right on the back tail right here, we're going to add a little pearl. This is like a little pearl aqua. We're going to bring a few strands off the back here. And our thread is by Dude, of course. This is a red A. I love a red collar on a jig. So let's go ahead and get this jig tied up here. So we'll go ahead and get our thread laid down. And where I'm going to be putting some of that flash coming off the back of the hook here, I'm going to run all the way down to the tip of the hook on the shank. Bring it back up to about midpoint. And then I'm going to get my flashing right here. And I'm going to cut a couple strands of this off right here and just bend it back. Maybe 2 or 3 strands or so. Just like it right there. That's about all we need. And then I'm just going to fold it over. Just like so. Pinch it up, and I'm going to tie it in and let it bump right up against the back of that bolt right there. I'm going to measure it down. There's a lot of pinching going on when you're doing this right here, but that's all right. I'm going to pinch him down, and then we're going to put 3 or 4 wraps on him right here. Just like so, then twist him around. There's nothing fancy about this part right here. Then we're just going to go ahead and cut those loops out. This is just to give it a little flash off the tail end right there. Then we'll tie this down. And right up here at the front, all this that's sticking out here, we're going to go ahead and just cut it and remove it. And throw it in the waste. There we go. And then we're going to bring our thread all the way back up to the back of the jig head here. Now we're ready to add some of our white synthetic hair. And what I like doing is pulling on it, pinching, and just twisting it around till I get about what I think I need for my jig head. You're going to have some loose fibers that you're going to have to work with, which is no big problem. That looks pretty good right there. So I'm going to go ahead and get this cut. Bring my trash stain over a little piece where I won't have to be reaching over. Just like it right there. And if I got a few fibers that's a little bit long toward the back, that's no problem to me. That gives it a little bit of character. It doesn't matter if you got a few hairs sticking over longer than the other ones. I've never had a crappie or smallmouth or anything like that worry about that much. So we're going to go ahead, push this right up against that jig head, and we're going to give it a couple wraps here and lock it in. Then we'll just take a look at it. That looks pretty good. And now I'm going to push up toward the jig head while pushing down on the shank of the jig. I want this to go over that shank. Just keep pushing it down, getting it over the shank of that hook. That looks good right there. Then we're going to lock this bad boy in, building that collar. I like a nice red collar. There we go. That's looking good right there. And you may have a few fibers sticking through on your collar. That's fine. You can just keep adding a few more turns to it, and that'll get rid of that. Now on the blue flashing here, I'm going to add a couple strands to each side. So I'll just raise it up here and cut it right down next to the zip tie. Don't try to pull this stuff through the zip tie, that is, because if you do that, that'll stretch it and it will kink up on you, and you will have to throw it away and get you another one. So always remember not to drop it, that is to just cut it right up next toward where the zip tie is on. We'll just get it here and flush it up. There we go. And I like wetting it, kind of bringing it together, and I want it to stick out just past the length of the hairs right here. So while pinching it, I'll bring it down there, get a good measurement on it. I like that. I'll lay it right on the side of the jig, and I'll give it 3 or 4 wraps to lock it in. Okay, we got that. Now we're going to take the rest of the crystal flashing, and instead of going under the jig, we're going to go right over top of it, and we're going to lay it right down the side of the jig. We will cut it to fit in just a second. Sometimes this can be a little tricky because it kind of coils back on you. But bring it right down the side, lay it right over the back of the collar, pinch it into place. That looks good. Then we'll add about 3 or 4 turns to that as well. There we go. Now we'll trim him up here to fit, just like the other side. Kind of eyeball it. No big deal. And then we're going to finish our collar up. There we go. And last but not least, we're going to do a whip finish to it. I do 5 usually. Like on bass jigs, I'll do like 5 plus 5 on a crappie jig, white bass jig. I usually do 5 or 6 turns. Bring it down. Then I like grabbing my thread, don't break it, grab a hold of the jig, and just seat it down. Then we'll go ahead and cut him. And what I like using for a cement, everybody likes different stuff. Some people likes the Sally Hansen, like I use on my jig heads. I like using Loctite super glue. It's my favorite super glue on the market. I'll put 2 or 3 drops on it there. And then I've got an old brush. Anything that you got that, you know, like plastic that you don't like or don't like, but something you know, don't care to get super glue on, just use it and just wrap around that collar. And that will hold that thread in the place. You'll lose that jig before this comes loose right there. Okay guys, there you go. The blue ice jig. This is an excellent pattern for like sunny days, clear water. And with that red collar, I had to wait for this super glue right here to dry up before I could get it out and turn it around. Didn't want to get my finger stuck. And it gives it a nice, glossy, shiny finish. And this thread, this ain't going to break off and go nowhere. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you liked it, give us a thumbs up. We much appreciate that. If you're new, subscribe to our channel. Follow us over on Facebook, Instagram. And we are getting our TikTok started, I promise. Until next time, stay safe out there in the woods, on the water, and we'll see you right here in the next one. Have a great day.